In my previous videos, I might have raised some concerns. Some people might even say I've been quite negative when it comes to my dear country of Sweden. But I have to confess, the longer I stay here in Sweden, the more I once again fall back in love with my dear country. And it's now to the point where I'm actually quite torn on which country actually is the best, Sweden or Taiwan. But how convenient is actually Taiwan if we, for example, would compare it with a house here on the Swedish countryside? Well, continue watching and you'll find out. So for this video, I want to focus on my top 3 categories when it comes to convenience and what I consider being the most important thing when you want to decide in which country you actually want to live in. But starting with the Taiwan work culture, and this is not from the eyes of an actual worker, this is from the eyes of a consumer or a customer. 10 years ago, my AC stopped working in the middle of one of the hottest days of my life at that point, and I had absolutely no idea what to do. My Chinese was terrible. I didn't even know how to say AC in Chinese. So what do you do as a lost foreigner? Well, you simply just walk out on the street and you just continue walking on the same street you live on until you find an AC repair shop. And then you just walk inside, try to explain your address, which you also don't know at this point. And then not only does this Taiwanese worker somehow miraculously understand that your AC is broken, well, I guess it's an AC repair shop after all, they only do like one thing. But anyway, not only does he understand you, he actually offers you to help you right away. And not only that, he actually offered me to drive me back home with him in his car. I guess to confirm the address, which I may or may not have mispronounced, but then also to give me a ride back home. And he fixes it, and it's basically like within 30 minutes of this thing happening, I'm leaving my apartment right away. I find him like 10 minutes up the street, which is another thing that is just super convenient in Taiwan, that you have so many different stores literally on the same street if you live, for example, up in Taipei. If we would make a 10-kilometer radius from the middle of Taipei, then I would have access to, I think, literally like 10,000 stores that will take care of every single need I will ever have in my entire life. Whereas here on the Swedish countryside, within 10 kilometers radius, we literally only have one very small grocery store that barely takes care of just our basic needs of surviving. The point is that the Taiwanese service and just the working culture with people just being available pretty much 24/7 is just super amazing. So in Sweden, where it's super far to the repair shop and also super expensive, most of us don't even bother to go in to try to get this professionally taken care of. So most people, including my dad, have their own workshop here in the countryside where they at least try to fix any kind of electronics and also make their own furniture, such as a hammock and a rocking chair, all 100% from scratch. But just as obvious as Taiwan is winning the overall service and working culture, there's absolutely no way Taiwan will beat Sweden when it comes to digital services and apps. And before you get too distracted by the swan here in the background, that's Patrick. If there's any way at all to avoid talking to strangers, I can guarantee you that the Swedes already have an app to do just that. For example, if you want to go grocery shopping, there is an app for that. You can start from home, typing in everything you want to purchase, and then the app will give you the exact directions and locations within that store where each individual item is. So you absolutely do not have to go up to a stranger and ask for help if you, for example, have some problem locating that 100% blueberry juice or Havredal's 100% oat milk. And do you know what's even more convenient than to pay an electricity bill at 7-Eleven with cash or credit card? Is to pay it straight from your app as well. In Sweden, we have something called Swish, which is very similar to Line Pay, but the biggest difference is that this is actually a cooperation between all the official banks in Sweden. So this is on the government level, which means that literally every single Swedish person and company is using the one same system for transferring money between your friends, or if you want to pay a bill, or if you even want to pay some parking tickets on the street. Everything is done with your phone, and if you, for example, want to go to a smaller market, they will not even accept cash at all. It will only be either card or using your phone to pay with Swish. So 100% Sweden is crushing not only Taiwan, every single other country in the world when it comes to apps and digital services, just because we don't like to talk to people unless we really have to. Oh, by the way, did I say Patrick? I meant plastic. And now, after 1-1 in the convenience contest, it is now time for food. Of course, Taiwan is super convenient when it comes to food, and you literally have access to, I think, like one restaurant every 10 meters or something. At least that's how it feels. Or maybe even sitting at home ordering from an app, which we Swedes do love so much. And then we haven't even started talking about the convenience stores, which I think Taiwan being the country with the second highest density of convenience stores per capita. But as a Swede growing up right here in the middle of the Swedish forest, I would actually argue that Mother Nature herself is the world's greatest convenience store. For example, if you want to eat some Swedish cherries, you simply go to the cherries tree. If you want to eat some Swedish strawberries, you just lay down by the strawberry plants. If I want some egg or honey, I go to the neighbors. And if you want some Swedish blackcurrant, all you have to do is to walk by the blackcurrant bushes or visit jbw.tw/Lukas. But of course, when it comes to food, it also comes down a lot to personal preference. For example, apparently a lot of Taipei landlords prefer to not spend that much real estate on the actual kitchen. And not only do we have a huge kitchen to cook our own food in, we also have cats to keep us company while we cook food, and we also have tons of different machines and appliances that will help us throughout the process. Huge fridges that will store food for literally days, huge ovens for making bread, stovetops where you can use multiple pans at the same time, dishwasher to take care of all the dishes afterwards, and of course we also have a full-size freezer to take care of any leftovers afterwards. Should also mention, of course, that in addition to Mother Nature, we also have Mother Eva here, who is making it a lot more convenient to eat some Swedish pancakes as well. Also, not sure if you noticed, but of course, as the proud Swedes we are, all our house appliances is of course from Electrolux or Electrohelios, which I would say is almost a requirement if you do want to say that you live in a 100% proper Swedish house. If you didn't know, then Electrolux is of course a Swedish, over 100 years old, world-renowned appliance maker, and an absolute necessity if you want to make some proper Swedish pancakes with some Swedish ice cream and some hand-picked Engström Forest blueberry jam as well, which is just absolutely amazing. I do, however, apologize if our kitchen does not live up to your standard or your image of a modern, minimalistic Swedish house. But the reason for that is just because since we are using Electrolux products, my parents bought all these appliances 30 years ago when they built this house by themselves. So that means that, for example, the stove is the same stove as I grew up with right in this house 30 years ago. And I actually have a photo to prove this as well. Do you see me sitting here on this chair and the stove behind me right there? Same guy, same stove, but 25 years apart. So I know that Taiwanese people just love talking about how convenient it is with food in Taiwan, and you can get it pretty much anywhere you want in Taiwan as well. But getting one set of house appliances that will literally last you over 30 years, now that's convenient. So although this contest might actually end with the draw, I just wish there was one way to combine all of these things so we can have the general convenience of living in Taiwan, but also these amazing products and solutions we have here in Sweden. For example, just imagine if you would actually be able to install one of these Swedish Electrolux dishwashers in your central Taipei apartment without even having to worry about how to install it, how to connect the power and the water as well. Well, today is at least my lucky day, since this video is actually sponsored by Electrolux, who actually sent over one of their brand new Ultimate Care 300 series dishwashers. As some of you might already know, I'm absolutely terrible when it comes to both cooking food and washing dishes, which is why I'm extremely grateful that this dishwasher comes with a smart cleaning setting and an auto program, which will automatically adjust the washing process for me. And something else that I appreciate super much as a 193 centimeter tall Swede is that the inside is also super customizable as well. So depending on the different sizes of the items you put in here, you can actually make tons of different adjustments as well. So for example, if you are using some larger plates which require a little bit more space, you can actually adjust the entire top shelf in this dishwasher, even when it's fully loaded with glass or cups in this case. And in a situation where your glasses might be too tall for the table tray here, you can of course just as easily lower the tray again, and if you really want to, you can actually super easily remove the entire table tray as well. I just wish that the rest of Taiwan was following this genius Swedish design. And according to the instruction manual, if you are using the high temperature sterilization program, you will actually remove 99.99% of all the bacteria. At least according to my girlfriend. That's 1000% more bacteria than if I would do these dishes for hand. And in addition to all the customization you can do within the machine and running all the different programs, for example a 45-minute ultra fast washing program at 40 degrees or another fast washing program at 65 degrees, that will only take 1 hour and 10 minutes. And in addition to this, you can even schedule when you want the program to start, so you will never forget to do the dishes before going to sleep ever again. This Ultimate Care 300 series also comes in a lot of different types of dishwashers. For example, this specific dishwasher is actually a 60 centimeter standalone machine that can fit enough dishes for 15 people. And to be honest, I don't think we even had 15 guests here in the apartment throughout the 3 years we have lived here, so this will definitely be more than enough for us. But on their website they also have tons of different versions of the same Ultimate Care 300 series. For example, if you are worried that this may not fit in your kitchen, they actually have a more narrow 45 centimeter machine as well. And if you want to be really fancy, they also have a fully and semi-integrated versions as well, which to be honest is a little bit too complicated for myself. I just love this standalone design, which I thought was gonna be too big for my kitchen, but it turns out that this would actually give me more space, since you have this entire area on top of the machine that you can do whatever you want with as well. And to be honest, and I feel quite stupid for saying this, I cannot believe I've waited for 11 years to get a proper dishwasher here in Taiwan. But to be honest, the main reason for why I did not get a dishwasher until now was that I thought that all dishwashers ran on 220 volts. It turns out that I was wrong. You can literally just plug this into the existing 110 volt outlet, and I thought that the whole installation process would just be terrible and you had to like add a lot of extra pipes and maybe like even drill some holes in the ceiling or in the floor. Turns out that Electrolux also give you free installation as well, and it was super easy. The guys just came here and it literally took less than 20 minutes from original packaging to having it installed and running that first test program just to make sure that the machine is working properly. All I can say that I'm now super excited about my now more Swedish life here in Taiwan. And who knows, maybe we'll be so crazy so we will celebrate with actually cooking our own food for I think the 3rd time in 11 years. At least now we don't have to dish our own dishes anymore. So once again, thank you so much Electrolux, and this is actually a brand that I literally have been growing up with back home in Sweden. It actually means a lot for my Swedish heart to see such an amazing Swedish company here in my now semi-Swedish Taiwanese apartment as well. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Lukas. It starts with L as in like, ends with S as in subscribe. Please do both, and see you all in the next one. And a fun fact, in the I think 1960s they actually came up with one of the most well-known ad slogan we have here in Sweden, which may or may not have aged that well, because they also make vacuum cleaners. So the slogan in the 60s was "Nothing sucks like Electrolux."